News 4 at 10 on air and streaming. I'm Samantha Jones.
And I'm Corey Stark. While many struggle to make ends meet in the midst of crisis, others are cashing in. Luxury cars, spending sprees, and cash money. All three came easy to scammers during the pandemic. Now the government is cracking down on people pocketing billions of your tax dollars intended to assist those in dire straits. News 4 Chief Investigator Lauren Traeger asks, is the government partly to blame for PPP fraud?
In this unassuming strip mall in Florissant, nestled between a beauty supply and a Chinese restaurant, is the Wing Strip. Not open for business, brown paper covering the windows, looking now exactly as it did a year ago.
Everybody been waiting on them to open up.
Cyrus, who works in the barber shop nearby, told us,
No, that's a wing strip.
He had never heard of the janitorial company allegedly run from this address.
No, never.
But according to government documents, that janitorial company got close to $400,000 in taxpayer money during the pandemic.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of money for a small business.
You've probably heard the acronym PPP, and no, we're not talking about PPE. That's things like masks and gloves. PPP stands for Payroll Protection Program. Launched at the start of the pandemic when things started to shut down, businesses could apply for forgivable loans, government funds to help keep people in their jobs instead of having to furlough them or let them go.
I believe very much in the value of the PPP program, but it was always going to be a problem. It just was.
Gwen Carroll is a career federal fraud prosecutor in St. Louis.
When you release many, many, many billions of dollars into the economy with almost no restrictions, people take advantage of it. And so that is where my office comes in.
The government estimates around $100 billion, in fact, went to people who didn't deserve it.
I laugh because I'm a taxpayer.
A number as laughable, she says, as it is irritating.
These are all taxpayer dollars. The money that is being defrauded here, this is money that I am paying, that my neighbors are paying, that everyone in society who's doing the right thing and complying with the law. Those are really the people being taken advantage of.
Locally, she says there's more than 45 investigations into PPP or other COVID-19 related government fraud. She declined to talk about most of the cases.
Because we do have obligations of secrecy during pending investigations, there's only so much we can talk about.
But some people, like Robert Williams, she's already worked to send to prison.
Robert Williams is absolutely, at the moment, serving a sentence he richly earned.
Williams, a formerly convicted felon for identity theft, suddenly became a millionaire during COVID, collecting $1.5 million in fraudulent PPP funds, even recruiting others to get in on the easy cash.
We told them, this is all fine, I'll take care of all the paperwork. He pulled those people into a fraud they otherwise would not have been a part of.
But he left an easy trail for the government, buying this Jaguar sports car for one, and even a Maserati.
So any dollar he ever makes in the future, the government's going to take a percentage of it.
The government seized the cars and other assets, but when Williams gets out of prison in 10 years, he'll still be working to pay off his debt to society. But many others are still awaiting their day in court.
Hello. I'm looking for Chris Carroll or George Reed.
The heads of Square One Group, a timeshare exit company based in Des Peres, are accused of a scheme to take nearly $3 million in PPP. Instead of using it for employees, they furloughed workers anyway, according to the indictment, and used the money to buy dozens of trucks and trailers for a new business.
Hey, George. I have channel card.
Some employees apparently still loyal.
They're actually not here today.
Okay.
Both men have pleaded not guilty, but Christopher Lee Carroll, the indictment says, didn't tell the truth on his application about something else. He's a registered sex offender out on parole at the time of the application. Our research located dozens of people charged with PPP fraud all around the country. Most recently, the actor who played the Red Power Ranger on a popular kids show. Locally, we found one man charged who said he ran a restaurant and fine dining business with employees in Wentzville, but the listed address was actually this UPS store. Carroll, though, says some people did get creative, even falsifying documents like W-2s.
People like money for nothing. And this was another way to get money for nothing.
There's more fault that goes around.
But defense attorney Joel Schwartz says with almost no upfront vetting and normal loan underwriting suspended, it was just too easy for people to take money.
It would be akin to putting a child, an infant, in a room with a bunch of popsicles and ice cream and saying, don't touch it. It was that easy.
Robert Williams was one of his clients. He expressed remorse, Schwartz says, and knew he'd probably get caught.
He still did what he did.
The taxpayer, he says, probably won't see most of the stolen money ever again.
You've heard the phrase blood from a turnip or blood from a stone.
He says if there's ever a next time,
I hope the government has learned that there just needs to be some oversight.
According to the government, this business called Starshine is out of this location.
we went to this business last year expecting to find the janitorial company. The high loan amount plus the lender used and then the papered over windows of a chicken restaurant raised some questions.
It operates out of this location right here.
We're all in one entity.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use 3 entities all in one.
We talked to this man, Michael Smith, an associate of the business, who said the owners did not want to go on camera.
It did receive $371,000. Is that
I'm
right? Is
not-
that your understanding?
I'm not for sure about anything about that.
We were wondering if we could talk about what the money was used for, how it helped the business during the pandemic.
Their application said payroll for 6 employees.
We have a total of 20 employees right now.
And how many of them work for the janitorial company?
Guess about 15 for the top of my head.
Either way, he says their PPP money did go to good use.
Helped us to, stay open and stay running, and getting things all achieved, for us. We're doing construction in here, and, it's just been a blessing.
If you want to contact authorities about a business that seems a little suspect to you, we've got the information on the KMOV News app. And in the meantime, there are a number of charged fraud cases from our area, and we will, of course, continue to track them. For News 4 Investigates, I'm Lauren Traeger.
An attorney for Chris Carroll pointed us to their court filings defending him. They say there are significant flaws in the government's argument, calling the indictment inaccurate. It argues, for instance, that Carroll's sex offender parole status was irrelevant.
$371,000. Is that
I'm
right?
not-
Is that your understanding?
I'm not for sure about anything about that.
We were wondering if we could talk about what the money was used for, how it helped the business during the pandemic.
Their application said payroll for 6 employees.
We have a total of 20 employees right now.
And how many of them work for the janitorial company?
Guess about 15 for the top of my head.
Either way, he says their PPP money did go to good use.
Helped us to, stay open and stay running,